What are 5 ways you can exercise your introverted intuition, or NI, if you're an INFJ, especially if you don't have the chance to do it in your work every day? Stick around for today's show to find out. The first way I'd like to share with you is probably the most important one, and it's simply to learn and keep learning. As a dominant intuitive, someone with intuition as the biggest and most important part of your personality, it's critical that you keep exploring new ideas and going deeper into the things that interest you, as well as expanding your frame of reference and your experience with the world. And you can do this a number of ways. We live in a great time where there is tons of information at your fingertips, much of which is free, and even the things that you have to purchase aren't overly expensive. So I highly encourage you to grab books that interest you on topics that interest you, to explore podcasts, to watch videos, even to audit classes. And something else you may not have considered is to find mentors, older, wiser people who can speak into your life, particularly on the things you want to learn about. That's something that I've done for a number of years now. I have a few mentors that I meet with on a regular basis, and I really appreciate hearing their perspectives and learning from their experiences. But one of the best things that I learned is that the people who have written books have compiled all that they learned in their lifetime, and they've spent an amazing amount of time trying to narrow it down to the most important insights they've gleaned. So just by reading, you can learn from any mentor you want. You can be mentored by presidents, you can be mentored by famous inventors, other INFJs. And that's a key that I'd like to point you to. If you can find other intuitive, dominant writers who could relate to your perspectives and the way you see the world, that would be helpful. But don't just limit it to that. Also explore other types of writers as well. A few of my favorite authors that I'll share with you now are the Heath brothers, Chip and Dan Heath. They've written books such as Made to Stick, Decisive, and The Power of Moments is their most recent book. Another author I really enjoy is Malcolm Gladwell, and he's written a number of books. Many people are familiar with Outliers. So if you haven't checked out those authors, I think you'll really enjoy them. They write about psychology and the world and how it works together, and they have a really interesting way at showing you a bunch of different perspectives, which we intuition users really appreciate, especially introverted intuition users. So I think you'll really enjoy them. But if you like other authors, by all means, go and check out their books as well and continue to expand your horizons, because you're just going to need that continual opportunity to dive into new ideas. And one final thought I'll leave you with on this point, because I think it's such a big one, is that you don't have to relegate learning to the morning or night if you work during the day. Consider turning your commute, if you're not already doing this, into an opportunity to continue to learn. Listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks. You can even get your phone to read ebooks to you. The options are limitless. Take advantage of that time and keep learning. The second way you can continue to exercise your introverted intuition is to create. Most people will say, hey, write, because a lot of INFJs enjoy writing. And I'm going to go ahead and echo that one because I think it's really big. But if you're not a writer, I have a few other suggestions for you that can be helpful, because definitely writing is not the only outlet that you should pursue or can pursue as an INFJ. But if you're interested or inclined toward writing, I'd encourage you to explore blogging, because blogging is a great way to get started putting your work out and helping other people even before you're more established. And it helps you to hone your writing, to share your ideas, and develop the craft. So it's a great way to get started. You can write nonfiction. A lot of INFJ writers are particularly drawn to nonfiction because they get to work with the ideas and all the different things they've learned, connecting back to point one, and then they can share those ideas in the ways they've pieced them together to help others, which connects again to extrovert feeling, the second function in an INFJ's personality. So it's a great way to create. You can also write fiction, and a lot of INFJs enjoy creating stories because they understand how people's minds work and enjoy studying people. So those thoughts give them ideas about characters that they can include in their story. So pursue fiction by all means. Another thought, kind of connecting the story and nonfiction, is to write memoir. Lawrence Apala, the author of the INFJ Writer, points out that many INFJs really enjoy writing memoirs. So if you haven't thought about it, you might want to share some of your life experience in a book. And you can actually publish a Kindle book if you haven't ever thought about doing so before. You don't need to have any special credentials. If you're excited about writing, I encourage you just to explore it a bit. I've written 2 books. They're not crazy long, but it was just a great opportunity to hone that writing craft and to exercise my creativity in a way that hopefully is helpful to other people. And then, if you enjoy poetry, and a lot of INFJs do, consider writing poems. Poems don't necessarily make you a ton of money or anything, but it's not necessarily about that. It's about expressing your creativity and, again, playing with words and ideas and doing it in a creative way. Poetry is a great outlet. And if you, like many INFJs, are attracted to music, you might want to wed the two and write your own songs. That's something I love to do. I've played the guitar for a while now, and I just really enjoy putting the ideas into lyrics that I can sing in a song. So if you haven't thought about that before, definitely think about creating that way, or just creating with music, which is another way that you can create on a regular basis. If you play any instrument or you've ever thought about getting into an instrument, connecting your introverted intuition to the fourth function in your personality, extroverted sensing, where you get to manipulate your fingers or your mouth, depending on what instrument you're using, and you get to tie creative musical ideas together. That can be an awesome way to create as well. But if you're more graphically or visually oriented, like some INFJs are, you might want to get into photography or painting or drawing. You know yourself well, and you know what you gravitate toward, what you do well. So do that particular thing, even if it's sewing and making something new. Take time to create. It's going to refresh you, and you're going to get lost in the project and really enjoy it. And not just anybody can do that. So make opportunities to create in the way that's energizing for you. I even know INFJs who like woodworking and building things with their hands. Whatever it is for you, do that thing and make time to do it. Tip number 3 is to understand the big picture. One of the biggest motivators for INFJs is a desire to understand why. We have this driving curiosity to explore things that interest us. So it could be various new theories or fields such as psychology or music or even sociology, whatever it is for you. We want to understand the big picture of these fields. And it really dives into our introverted intuition, which desires to understand how the world works together. I don't know if you've ever wanted to know how various facets of life work together, how the monetary system, our society works with how people are wired and what they do, and how that works with the overall purpose of the world, how it came to be, just various different facets of life and how they all tie together. I was just talking to my wife about that today. I said, honey, you're going to have to hold on for a second because I've got to share what I've been thinking. And I just let me know if you've heard too much, because I don't want to, bore you or drive on forever, because I have a tendency to ramble when I'm sharing the thoughts that are in my head. I don't know if you've ever had that experience. Not that INFJ thoughts are boring, but she just doesn't tend to think about those sort of things. So I was trying to give her a heads up. But the point is, I love to tie it all together, and I know that a lot of INFJs do as well. So as you're learning, try to put together the world's history and put together the way humans work and why they work the way they do, and try to understand the big picture and how it all ties together, and continue to add to your learning so that you can see from a faraway perspective, looking at the whole forest, how all the trees tie together, so to speak. It will be an exciting journey for you, and it'll motivate you to keep adding to your understanding of the way the world works. Tip 4 is an important one, and it's to pursue your vision. You probably have some ideas for some things you want to explore, create, or start doing. The best way I can relate this to you is to tell you my own story. A couple of years ago, I got interested in YouTube and the opportunity to teach others and to share what I was learning and help others better understand certain concepts. I bought a tripod. Actually, it's the one I'm using right now. I got a camera, and I had a lot of enthusiasm. And I got started, but I didn't stick with it. And then a little bit later, I had the idea to start a blog. So I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to get started writing about, but I got the blog set up, and got going, and I think I half wrote a post but never published it online because I was worried about what other people would think about me. And then there were other times that I thought about things like podcasting or just other avenues that I could share expertise or things that I was learning in books or from other people that I was excited about. The problem was I'd get started and I would do some work, but I wouldn't stick with it because other people couldn't see the vision. They couldn't see where it was going. And I craved their affirmation. I craved their support and their encouragement, but it wasn't always there. And here's what I want to say to you today. Chances are good you have some great ideas for some things you could help others with, some expertise you could share, something you're excited about that you could publish and put out there for other people. Maybe you don't even want to put it on a platform where a ton of people could see it. Maybe you just want to play an instrument or display your art or just counsel a few people, but you have a vision. Chances are good you have a vision that you want to pursue. And my encouragement to you is to not ignore that. Don't wait until other people tell you, yeah, this is going to do really well, because you probably can see it way clearer than they can at this point. They're going to need to see you get some experience and put the material out there on a consistent basis. They might even need to see you have a little bit of success before they come behind you and start saying, yeah, you are good at that. That's great that you're doing that. But don't wait. Go ahead and do it anyway. A couple of years later, that's what I started doing. I just decided I was going to write every week and publish a blog post. So I did that, and I stuck with it for a year. In fact, I'm still pretty much doing that. I still miss a week every once in a while here and there, but I decided I was going to publish every week, and that habit helped me to stick with it long enough till I could find what I was really interested in. And then from there, I started a podcast and eventually this YouTube channel. But it was all a decision to stick with it, and a declaration I heard it called recently. So if you have a vision, something you're excited about, even while you're working a job and you don't have a lot of time, take time each week to work on that thing and stick with it. It's amazing where it can end up going. My last and final piece of advice in regard to how you can develop and exercise your introverted intuition, especially if you don't have the opportunity to do it day to day in your work, is to find ways to coach, counsel, or teach. We INFJs love to collect ideas, but we're really not completely satisfied until we can put those ideas into practice, helping other people develop and grow into the people they were meant to be. Now, we enjoy self-development, and that's something that I definitely would encourage you to pursue, but it's also really satisfying to help someone else reach his or her goals. INFJs come in all different types. Some are more introverted and some are more extroverted. So what I encourage you to do is to explore an avenue that fits you best. If you don't like to be around a lot of people and don't like to teach a large class, consider working with one or two people in a coaching or a counseling relationship. Maybe it starts with just friends and family. That was the case with me, where I was just listening to challenges that people in my life were going through and taking it in. And then after meeting with them, I just kind of pursue ideas that might be helpful to them. And then I'd share those ideas with them, or I'd help them work through their own thoughts. And I would hold them accountable, send them a text message, put it on my calendar to remind me to send them a text message, send them an email, just check up with them or check in with them to keep them going and pursuing their goal. And they really appreciated it. That's something that you can do even without a lot of experience that you'd probably enjoy quite a bit. Or you can find ways to do that online or in your local area, or maybe in a more professional role. However you want to do it, there are opportunities. Just get started. And if you haven't considered teaching, but it's something that interests you, it doesn't even matter if you have a background in pedagogy. You can just find opportunities to share your interests either online, again, with a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel, in person, maybe at your church or at your organization. There might be roles for teachers if you do have the chance to do it at work, or even in an interest group that you might belong to. So if you are passionate about geology, for instance, or photography, or whatever it is that you know how to do, you might get into a role where you have the opportunity to teach. You'd probably really enjoy that role because you'd be able to share what you've learned and how your experience can be of service to others. So I'd really encourage you to take any opportunity that you can find to counsel, coach, or teach. If you'd love to take a deep dive into the INFJ personality and understand yourself better, then I'd love to give you a free copy of my book, The INFJ Personality Guide. If you'd like to understand the mindsets that cause you to do what you do and take a look at some common INFJ challenges, as well as some ways to overcome those challenges, then this book is for you. I wrote it to help you understand that you're not broken or messed up, but just different, and your gifts are needed in this world. To get this book, text INFJ to the number 4499 or visit ispeakpeople.com/INFJ personality guide. I'll put that link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it served you. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do that. I'm creating new videos each and every week with tips, advice, and insight into the INFJ personality for INFJs just like you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show.